Hello ladies and gentlemen. Hello ladies and gentlemen. Sorry about that. Welcome back to another video. In today's video I'm going to be trying to repair the L2 button on the Sony PS5 DualSense controller. As you might be able to hear, there's a bit of a loose piece in this controller, and it's likely because of a spring that's located, which adds a bit of resistance to the controller. This one is a lot more firm than this one. The adaptive triggers still work, it's just that the spring to kind of like bounce it back is gone, so it doesn't feel as in place essentially as the R2 button. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get straight into the video. So the first thing you're going to do is go ahead and remove the black panel. Black panel is easy enough to remove. You can just put your nails in there and it kind of just clips out. Just try not, don't be too kind of like overly aggressive with it, essentially. But it should, as you just go along sides of the controller, should eventually come out. You can use a flathead screwdriver to do it. Again, don't yank it too much from the sides, or else you might damage the plastics, which wouldn't be very nice at all. So again, if your nails aren't particularly strong enough, unfortunately this one's a bit more harder to take out than I thought. But essentially the plastic piece should come out. So if we actually go ahead and get the Phillips screw, we should be able to actually just didn't seem to really come apart, does it? Which is very interesting. Seems to be very stuck in place. I imagine a lot of people's nails are going to be quite heavily damaged after this whole teardown is over, but you can see it kind of like clips off. Now it should really just pull out. I'm not sure why this one is being particularly difficult. Not too sure really. If anyone knows what I'm doing wrong, do let me know, because for some reason this controller doesn't want to seem to come out from the housing. This is the first step that we need to really get inside and see what the damage is, but unfortunately this button just this controller unfortunately just doesn't want to come out. We can't really begin the teardown without removing this piece, which is really annoying. It seems to just be snapped in there, especially with these hooks. It should just slide out, but unfortunately it doesn't. So I'm going to keep trying until it does come out. Alright guys, so with a bit of persuasion I finally got the faceplate to actually come off. So this is what the control looks like. So you can actually go ahead and replace the faceplates by yourself actually, which is very neat indeed. Now the next thing they're going to do is remove these Phillips screws here and here. They are very small, again, as you can see there. So they are the same on both sides. So go ahead and get the smallest screwdriver that you possibly have that could fit, and just try your best to unscrew the screws. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get a much more smaller Phillips screw. Okay, so I've gone ahead and found hopefully a small enough Phillips screwdriver. This is not a Phillips screwdriver, wonderful, but it should still work, hopefully. So if we just put that in, tiring to say the least. So once you've gone ahead and removed the screws, it's time to go ahead and try to remove the white back plate, essentially, so that we can see what's inside and what's actually wrong with the rattling. So with this bit, again, you're going to want to be careful just with the front panel. Pull it from the palms piece as far as it goes, and then as you can see, there's kind of like two hooks here. You're going to want to try and essentially pull those out. Again, try not to use too much force, else you might actually risk distorting those clips. You don't really want to go ahead and do that at this stage, which I think I may have actually gone ahead and done. So one way you can try and not do that is use a small Phillips screw. Should unclip like that. Now the next step is to actually go ahead and try and remove the shoulder triggers. So the next step is to try and just pull out these R1 buttons. They should just pull out in an ideal world, but you know, fortunately we don't live in an ideal world, and these controllers are very finicky, so try and scoop out that R1 button. Again, my phone's just not focusing. This is why you don't get a gaming phone to record, guys. Okay, so I've got the camera to now focus. So after you've gone ahead and done that, remove the shoulder triggers here. You know when you've done it correctly when there's no loose bits that have, you know, come off or anything. So that's the triggers, as you can see. The next step is to go ahead and remove these two screws here. Once you've gone ahead and remove those two screws, this back plate should come off, and we can finally see if the spring is actually broken. So let's go ahead and just do that now. Use the smallest screwdriver you have. These screws are they're really stuck in tight, guys, so you're gonna have to really just pull it out, not pull it out, but screw with all your might. Because when you combine small screws with, you know, such a tight plug, it makes it really hard to unscrew them. So go ahead and unscrew those as best as you can, guys, and I'll be back very shortly. Since you've gone ahead and removed those annoying screws, the next step is to go ahead and try and remove this panel, the back panel. Essentially, it should, once you unclip everything, should hopefully just come off nicely. So just go ahead and slowly work your way through the back panel, and it should hopefully come off all in one piece, this whole panel. Alright guys, and so hopefully the plastic panel should come off fairly easily. Fairly easily is a bit of a lie, actually. It really wasn't easy at all to open apart. It was really hard. So if it takes a while for you to open up the plastic cover, don't worry too much, just take your time, peel it around, use a plastic tool if you can, like a prying tool. That will definitely help you out a lot. So as you can see, because if we look, And you can see that this side has the spring. It's a lot more resistive. It's a lot more resistive. Hope you guys can see that. If you look on this side, the spring is actually broken off, and that was actually a loose piece inside. It was out of place actually. So if you feel this one without a spring, it's actually a lot more. It's just not as firm as this one. Like, look, I can actually wiggle it about. It almost feels very loose, and the only force of it is actually the rubber button inside, kind of like these ones here for the R1 and L1. So yeah, unfortunately, if the same case is for you, you are going to need to get replacements, but the springs are quite cheap, so it shouldn't be too bad. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and to just put it back all together, the exact opposite of everything I did. So put the plastic back panel on, put the screws in, put the R1 button in, and then as a last thing, the battery is trying to fly out. And as your last option, your last chore is to just put in the black plate, and you're all good to go back from the start. But yeah, hopefully guys you found this video useful. If you didn't, do let me know as to why. I tried my absolute best with this. You know, I was very, very tired today, so I do apologize about that, but I wanted to get this in because I wanted to know what exactly was wrong with this controller. And it turns out that the spring was at fault. It's not too bad really. You can live with it if you're not comfortable with taking it apart, but when you put it back in, you'll just notice just a big improvement in, you know, just really everything. You'll notice that the controls is just so much more. It's a better experience basically. But yeah, hopefully you guys found this video useful, and I'll see you guys in another video. Bye.